Which celebrity is a dirtbag? I used to sell weed in New Orleans many years ago, and a friend of mine went to Loyola U with Drake's then tour manager. Well, Drake came to play at the Uno Lakefront Arena and they wanted some weed for the roadies and some of Drake's crew, so we drive down there and get ushered backstage to make the sale of about 2 OZ. After they paid up, we walk past the green room where Drake and everyone are hanging, and in there I counted no less than 5 underage looking girls. Always left a bad taste in my mouth after seeing that. Jenny McCarthy really spearheaded the whole anti-vax bullshit and helped mainstream it. Thousands of disabilities and deaths are on her hands, but she gets a new reality show every couple of years. An absolute trash bag of a human being. Chris Pratt has been seen wearing a hat of a group supporting white supremacy. Also, his brother is linked to a far-right militant group and has been seen posing with a sign with the 3% symbol on Instagram. Gandhi slept with minors and Mother Teresa was pro-life, as well as the fact that you were more likely to die in one of her hospitals than out on the streets. Steven Tyler adopted, dated, and impregnated a 16-year-old girl. Jared Leto. He's still getting hired after countless accusations of texting and flirting quite explicitly with his underage fans. I'm pretty sure he pushed himself way further than that, but I don't remember exactly. Also, he has multiple rape accusations. Any celebrity that flies all over the world on their private jet and then bitch about global warming can fuck right off. I agree, but I will add the whole meme about Taylor Swift's private jet. Plus, Prince Harry and his wife. They cry about the environment while flying on private jets. Mark Wahlberg. As a teenager, he was twice charged with hate crimes. In 1986, Wahlberg, then 15, and a group of friends threw rocks and shouted racial slurs at a black group of 4th graders. He was accused of yelling, "Kill the N-word." The incident resulted in him and 2 of his friends being issued a civil rights injunction. 2 years later, Wahlberg was arrested after attacking 2 Vietnamese men while trying to steal beer. He called one man a Vietnamese racial slur, hit him over the head with a 5-foot wooden stick, and punched the other man in the face, in addition to making comments about his slant-eyed looks. He was initially charged with attempted murder. He was sentenced to 2 years, but, after serving just 45 days, he was released. Oprah. I was teaching a group, including her, to sail a few years ago, and she refused to acknowledge I existed. A few times I asked if she needed anything, drinks, food, etc. She would look towards me, but not at me, and then look away again. Russell Crowe was also on the yacht at the time, and he was an absolute pleasure to have aboard. A couple of times he observed the awkward exchange with Oprah and cut through the awkward silence with some small talk. Total bro. Steve Harvey. This dude will berate a crowd for not laughing at his jokes. I've been an audience member of Family Feud and he was a horrible person the entire time. And he's publicly stated in interviews that it's women's fault when men cheat, along with a bunch of other sexist garbage, as well as considering people are bad if they don't believe in God. My friends and I were in a pub in Glasgow and Gerard Butler was there. He was happily posing for photos with, traditionally, hot girls. Our friend, who was overweight at the time, asked him for a photo and he just blankly stared at her and said, "No." I have a random Gerard Butler story. When my wife and I were buying our apartment, he had just recently been in town filming a movie. Apparently, his unleashed dog attacked the dog owned by the woman we were buying from, early 60s-ish, and then he proceeded to scream it and threaten her because he thought her dog started it. She was interviewed on the news and everything. That fat British guy that hosts the carpool karaoke. Everyone knows how much a first bag he is, especially after what he did at that New York restaurant. And then having the audacity to say I have done nothing wrong, and only when people got mad he said he make a rude comment. Just hypocrisy. Jerry Jones. There is a photo of him back in 1957 with a group of other white students harassing black students and not letting them get inside the school. Don't know if he would be considered a celebrity or not, but Prince Andrew is supposed to be a major dickhead and a pedophile. Hulk Hogan. Aside from just being a douchebag and pathological liar, he claimed that he fulfilled a dying kid's wish to meet him and see him wrestle. He wasn't even in the same country as the aforementioned kid when he suggested this happened. Marilyn Manson, and by proxy, Johnny Depp, openly admitted to torturing and raping his ex on the radio, even admitting he threatened to take the lives of her family. His ex tried to take him to court but was silenced by constant threats of her life and physically tortured by him. He admitted to this. No charges were ever filed. Johnny Depp, a known domestic abuse survivor, still praises him as his best friend to this day. Both are vile. I don't doubt Johnny has suffered abuse as well, but the fact he still speaks fondly of him despite knowing what he's done speaks volumes. Just wanted to add some positivity that my uncle used to be a limo driver, and said that most celebs he drove were absolutely stuck-up assholes. For example, he said the members of Westlife treated him like absolute dirt, and Victoria Beckham completely looked down her nose and laughed at him. However, he once drove Robin Williams to the airport and said he was the most down-to-earth genuine guy ever. He was very interested to know about my uncle, offered him some of the food from the back, and was cracking jokes, making my uncle laugh all the way. There will be a lot of exposés about Drake in years to come. He has a history of texting underage girls, most notably Billie Eilish and Millie Bobby Brown. I'm an actor. Thankfully, this site provides anonymity. Chris Evans, Jonathan Bennett, Andy Dick, Barry Cogan, Lana Del Rey, Peyton Manning, Finn Wolfhard. I'd go on, but those are the ones about to be exposed. Except maybe Manning. Let's just say don't be surprised if a bunch of future NFL QBs come out of Louisiana in the future with huge foreheads and not the last name Manning. Mike Tyson was convicted on multiple charges, including rape 30 years ago. Chris Brown both cheated on Rihanna with a work friend and also assaulted her. Andrew Tate. Some of the stuff he says is valid, but he's a misogynistic pig overall. Hey, if you like the video so far, consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video for more. I saw Ryan Gosling at a grocery store in Los Angeles yesterday. I told him how cool it was to meet him in person, but I didn't want to be a douche and bother him and ask him for photos or anything. He said, "Oh, like you're doing now?" I was taken aback, and all I could say was, "Huh." But he kept cutting me off and going, "Huh? Huh?" and closing his hand shut in front of my face. I walked away and continued with my shopping, and I heard him chuckle as I walked off. When I came to pay for my stuff up front, I saw him trying to walk out the doors with like 15 Milky Ways in his hands without paying. The girl at the counter was very nice about it and professional and was like, "Sir, you need to pay for those first." At first, he kept pretending to be tired and not hear her, but eventually turned back around and brought them to the counter. When she took one of the bars and started scanning it multiple times, he stopped her and told her to scan them each individually, to prevent any electrical interference, and then turned around and winked at me. I don't even think that's a word. After she scanned each bar and put them in a bag and started to say the price, he kept interrupting her by yawning really loudly. Billy Corgan. The only reason he hasn't had a mass outing about his disgusting treatment of women and gross political beliefs is that no one cares enough about him. People in the music industry generally despise him because he's entitled, miserable and psychologically abusive towards everyone around him except men whose status is high enough. Oh yeah, and he impregnated a 20-year-old when he was in his 50s. After spending years evaluating teenagers to be his perfect child bride, people saw him being abusive towards her in life, and he stopped showing how he interacts with her in real life in favor of curated family photos. He deleted his entire personal IG photo history to hide any evidence of their fucked up dynamic. He still has emotional affairs with dozens of women at all times, just a disgusting person overall, and always has been. Bill Murray. He's cultivated a harmless weird guy reputation in the last few decades. Still, he has multiple public accusations of being an emotionally and verbally abusive asshole to less powerful co-stars, and his ex-wife described instances of domestic violence amid drug abuse during their marriage. David Walliams. He was filming at my old job, used our dressing rooms and was an absolute knob to everyone, the runners in particular. Absolutely kicked off when his taxi was 2 minutes late. I'm a teacher and the kids love his books, but the content he puts in there does not seem appropriate for the age range he markets them for. Steven Seagal. He has hundreds of stolen Buddha heads, cut off of statues in their country of origin, looted from temples and put on display in his basement in glass cabinets like it makes him cool and or deep somehow. You can share your own story down in the comment below, and thanks for watching the video.